Welcome to Stellar Sisters, the podcast where cosmic wisdom meets soul-enriching conversation.
We explore astrology, human design, and the unique blueprint of your soul, helping you understand yourself on a deeper level.
Consider this your permission slip to embrace the magic of being authentically you.
Let's begin.
Hello, and welcome back to Stellar Sisters podcast. I'm your host, Chanel, your guide for all things astrology, and we are joined by Sydney, your guide for all things human design. Today, we're going to do a Q&A episode, which I think is going to be really fun. We're going to ask each other questions about our astrology charts, about our human design charts, about our journey through spirituality and how we got into things. And yeah, I think it'll be really fun, and you can hear a little bit about what we connect with in our astrology charts and human design charts, and just get to know us a little bit better. So yeah, maybe we can start just by talking about like our big three, our human design types. I know we've said it before, but we may have people who don't know that about us.
Yeah. So I'm a Libra rising. This is Sydney talking. I'm a Libra rising and an Aquarius sun and an Aquarius moon. And I'm a projector in human design, a 6-2 projector with emotional authority.
Yeah. And I'm a Libra sun, Capricorn rising, Gemini moon, and I'm a 5-1 emotional manifester in human design. And I so resonate with just every placement. I resonate with everything in my human design chart. It just like feels so resonant with who I am. But I've always been really drawn to things that like self-discovery and like learning about who you are and your archetype of things. And so I think that's kind of like where this like all peaked for me, and like my interest in learning astrology and human design. It's just like my nature, I guess. I've always been very drawn to those things and wanting to understand myself better and wanting to understand other people better too.
Yeah, I've always been the same way too. I just remember always wanting to take those quizzes in like those teen magazines we had when we were little. Like they were my favorite part.
Yes.
And do you remember those like chicken soup for the soul books? Teenage Soul, maybe?
Yeah.
Like they always had like assessments and like little quizzes you could take. Like I just always loved that, like learning about myself. And yeah, I mean, both of us, I minored in human development and family studies, and that was your major in college. And I majored in psychology. I've always loved learning about how people work and how they connect, and and human design and astrology just goes on such a deeper level of all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in high school, before I knew anything about like your rising sign or your moon sign, and you really only knew about sun signs back then, and the internet wasn't what it is now. And so you didn't really know about any of that stuff. But like, even I always knew my friends' sun signs, and like I knew I really liked air signs, like Aquarius and Gemini. Like I felt like I always clicked with air signs like in high school, because I'm very air heavy. And I don't know, I just like the sun signs always made sense to me. And then like in my 20s, when I discovered that there was a whole birth chart with like a rising sign and your moon sign and Mercury and Venus, I was like, whoa, this is incredible. Like I need to know everything. And I need to know everyone's chart in my life. And I need to like, and it's just, it's so helpful, I think.
Yeah.
You use it as a tool to understand yourself and other people.
Yeah. I remember you were telling me, you were the one that told me that the whole chart has like a whole map and the planets fall in different houses. And it was just mind blowing and so magical. I remember the first, like we were driving together and you were like, yeah, pull up your chart. Chanel was driving and she was like, pull it up and tell me where your Mercury is or your Venus is. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? Like it was just the coolest thing. And that really sparked that for me to then get into astrology. And then I just remember listening to different podcasts about things, and somebody was talking about human design and they were a projector. And I was just like, I think that's what I have to be. And then I looked at my chart and I was like, yeah, that's what I am, and it was just
Yeah.
so resonant for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just love it. I love both human design and astrology so much.
Yeah, me too. And then, like, there are other things like your Myers-Briggs personality type and
Yeah.
the Enneagram. And I actually just learned what my Enneagram was, and I sent the quiz to you, and I was like, take
Yeah.
this to figure out what yours are. And I'm surprised that like I haven't dug into that more because like I said, I am pretty into like all of that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so I just learned my Enneagram and I did a bunch of different quizzes online for it. Um, and some quizzes came back that I was a 2 and some came back that I was a 4. And so I
Mm.
spent some time kind of like researching both of them and I do I do resonate a lot with the 2, but I feel like I'm definitely a 4, more of a
Hmm.
4 Enneagram type. Um, which I'm not an expert in it, but like I guess fours feel like a little bit different. They feel like outsiders. They're very like in tune with their emotions and they're very creative and they're very like deeply feeling people. And that's just like very much me to a
It's
T.
like you just like hit like all your main points in your human design chart.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm thinking like 5-1, your emotional authority, like that channel that has you talking about your emotions and the creativity, like you have that in your chart. Gate 8 and
Yeah.
gate 41. Yeah, just you just like hit all the main things.
Yeah. It's very, very much me.
Yep.
um, and yeah, I don't know too much about the Enneagram, but I
Me
know I am a
neither.
four. Yeah.
When I took it, I got a 2. And I feel like I took it years ago and I remember maybe being a 3, but well, maybe I don't know. I don't know much about it,
You
but anyway,
don't
I
feel like
got
a
a 2.
3 to me because I feel like threes are very
Mm.
much um, motivated by career success and like that's their main
Mm.
motivation in life. And I'm not saying that like you aren't motivated to be successful, but I don't think that's your main drive in life is
Yeah.
like, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I mean what I read about the 2, I resonated with it.
Yeah. And the twos are like the helper, right? So
Mhm.
twos are
Yeah.
very much about like helping other people and your relationships and yeah, just like navigating, guiding, helping
Mhm.
others with the two, which again is like very much resonates with me too. But I think I'm a 4. And I do not know what the wings are. Um,
Yeah, me neither.
I do not know my wings, but apparently, like as a 2, you can have like a wing 1 or a wing 3. So you could be like a 2 with a wing 3, maybe.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And then I could be like a 4 with a wing 3 or a wing 5. And I don't know which one I am because I do resonate kind of with both. So I don't know. If there's anyone out there who knows anything more about the Enneagram or recommends any resources or people, let us know because I am interested in it.
Yeah, let us know. It'd be fun to have somebody on the podcast to talk about it.
Yeah, that I would love that. It would be really
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Um, and then your Myers Briggs. Do you know your Myers Briggs?
Oh, yeah, I'm an INFJ.
Yeah, and I'm an INFP. Yeah. I think when I was younger, I was definitely an E. So you can be an I or an E, which is an introvert or an extrovert. And
Mhm.
when I was younger, I definitely felt like more of an extrovert, but the older I get, the more I'm like, no, I'm definitely an introvert. So there's the E and I, the extroversion or introversion. They're S and N, which is sensing or intuition.
Mm.
So we're both N's. And so that's like focusing on possibilities and big picture patterns and future theories. And the S is concrete facts and details. And
Mm.
then there's the T or the F, which is we're both F's, so we're feeling, so making decisions on your like emotions
Yeah. That check.
versus versus thinking, which is making decisions based on logic.
Mm.
And then this is where we differ with the J and the P. So you're J, which is judging, which means you prefer structure and planning and organization. And I'm P, which is I prefer flexibility and spontaneity and keeping options open.
Hmm.
So that's really
I love it.
interesting.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I have a lot of Saturnian energy in my chart. It kind of makes me think of that, you know, wanting the structure.
Like Saturn, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturn. Like almost all my planets are ruled by Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So you like thrive more on that like structure.
yeah.
And while I'm a Capricorn rising, I have Neptune in the first house, which is
Mm.
like I'm a Capricorn, but like not really. like a very sensitive, emotional, intuitive Capricorn.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah. But I think we make a really good pair that way. In our differences. We kind of
Mhm.
balance each other out.
Yeah, definitely. Love that. Anything else you want to say about Myers-Briggs or Enneagram or personality tests in general?
Yeah, I think Amy Poehler kind of inspired me to learn about the Enneagram.
Yeah.
Um, because she talks about the Enneagram, she talks about astrology, she talks about the Myers-Briggs a lot with her guests on her podcast, which
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with. And I think that's so interesting. And I remember she had Kate McKinnon on.
Yes, I saw a clip of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Kate is a Capricorn, she's an Enneagram 4, and she's an INFP, and I was like, "Me too!"
Oh
Like,
my gosh, I love
yeah,
her.
I know. Um,
Wait, did
yeah,
you look up her chart?
I know she's a Capricorn, but I don't know her other placements.
I wonder what her human design is. Be funny to look it up.
Yeah,
Well, should we get into some just origin story questions?
that sounds good.
Um, First one is what were you doing career wise before astrology and human design found you?
Yeah, so after I graduated college, I got a job um, working for a travel nurse recruitment agency. And so I started getting into recruiting, and that's really like the career field that I have been in for the past 10 plus years, recruiting and human resources. Um, and I always thought that I would be a therapist, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. But then after college, I just kind of fell into recruiting and HR, which I guess if you're interested in therapy is like the the business field that you would be in
Yeah.
for those kinds of things. And I liked it because I got to connect with people and work with people. Um, but then, so I always ran my astrology business on the side. But then I was laid off from work when I was still on maternity leave. My son was 3 months old, and best thing that ever happened to
Mhm.
me because I don't know that I would have had the courage to quit my job and stay home with him if I wasn't laid off. And so I've been a stay at home mom with him for almost 2 years now. And, but of course, I still run my astrology business on the side. And yeah, I still have career hopes to become a therapist now. And so starting grad school to become a therapist, which is really exciting. And I think my big picture goal would be to somehow incorporate astrology into therapy and have my own private practice to do that. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
me.
so exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't believe Otto's going to be 2.
I know. The years literally fly by.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I came to the decision to be a therapist too because my chart, both my human design and my astrology charts, I think point to doing something like that as a career. And I think that's what makes me a good astrologer and a
Mhm.
good person to come to for an astrology reading. And I absolutely love connecting with people like one on one and talking about their charts and what they're going through. And
Mhm.
I just want to be able to take that like even deeper too.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful for astrology and human design to like be able to like reflect that back to me and say like no, this is in your design, this is in your chart, and like this is something that you're good at and something that you're meant to be doing, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. I love how supportive the chart can be.
What about you?
Um, Before I found human design and astrology, I started a clothing company with my cousin back in 2013 and did that for many years and then left that. And then I was working in sales, which I have no idea how I got into sales because that's like the last thing I want to do. Yeah, so started working in sales. And then I think shortly after that, I just got really into astrology and human design. And then, like you, when I was a few months postpartum, I got laid off. And that was definitely the best thing that ever happened because my daughter was only like 6 or 7 months. And I was able to just spend a lot of time with her. And now I work part time doing sales slash customer service things and also doing human design readings. And I love doing human design readings so much. There's always so many aha moments when I'm just like talking, when I'm reading somebody's chart and just kind of get those like tingles on the back of my neck, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I love doing that. And hopefully that will just continue to grow and I can kind of transition into just doing all human design things. And next question is what was your spiritual awakening era like?
Yeah. So I would say mine came when I was really young. So the year was 2008. It was the summer right before I turned 20. So I was 19. And it's interesting because I think my spiritual awakening had a lot to do with the book Eat, Pray, Love by
Yes.
Elizabeth Gilbert. And that book was such a huge like phenomenon back then, like in the early
Yeah.
2000s. And I remember I was home from college, um, and my mom had bought the book, and it was just like sitting around our house, and I wanted to go outside and tan because that's what you did back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, I need a book to take with me. Also, like iPhones weren't a thing back then either. So you weren't just like scrolling, you like actually needed a book to like do something. And I read that book like cover to cover. And again, you have to think back to like the time period of then, like the internet and social media was not at all what it was now. Like the concept of spirituality was like just starting to
And like
kind of
all we
take
had was
off.
Facebook. We didn't have Instagram yet, you
Exactly,
know?
like old school Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think like spirituality and like was not at all then what it is now. Like it was just very like I don't know, like niche, and like not a lot of people were into it, I guess. And but in that book, you know, she like goes to India, she's like meditating in an ashram, and she's doing like all of these spiritual things. And I was like, holy cow, like I want to be like her. I want to do those things. I didn't even know that like these things were a possibility. And yeah, and then she goes to Italy and she's learning Italian. And yeah, that kind of kicked off my interest in like traveling and spirituality. And, you know, that's when I decided to study abroad, and that's how we met
Mm-hmm.
um, and connected. And then I just kind of like from there got into like just exploring a lot of different spiritual books and texts and Buddhism and the Bhagavad Gita, and I don't know, all kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back, I didn't know astrology then. Looking back, that was when Saturn was in Virgo, transiting through my ninth house.
Mm.
And so that transit is all about rediscovering your spirituality, your philosophy, your beliefs, your religion. It's about foreign places and foreign travel. And that was all about that era for me. And so, yeah,
Wow, I love that.
yeah. And I didn't know that at the time, but looking
Yeah.
back, it all aligned with my astrology chart. So, yeah, I started really young for me. And then, yeah, ever since then, I have been into spiritual things, and it's definitely grown and evolved since the beginning of that. But I didn't grow up in a religious house. I didn't grow up in a spiritual house. Like, we really didn't do any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, when I discovered it at 19, it was just like, wow, this is so
Mhm.
cool.
Wow. Mine was much later. I'd say it was so I left the clothing company that I helped build and owned in 2017. So once I left that company, I was just working and working and working. Like all I was doing was working, and I was really burnt out. And I didn't know that I was a projector at that point, but I remember thinking like, why do I feel so burnt out, just compared to regular people? And it was just wasn't something I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I left that and just got my dog. And I just remember going on a lot of walks with her and listening to audiobooks and podcasts. There was a book. I can't remember what the book was. It was a self-help book that like kind of started it. And
Yeah.
then I stumbled upon Melissa Ambrosini. Do you know who she is? She wrote a book called Mastering Your Mean Girl, and it's about just like that inner critic that we all have that's like telling you you're not good enough or you can't do XYZ thing. And it's a whole book on like mastering your inner critic, your inner mean girl. And that really like set something off in me. Like I don't have to do something that I feel like I should do or other people expect from me. Like what do I actually want to do with my life? And what do I actually like? So yeah, I just remember spending a lot of that 2017 summer going on lots of walks and listening to a lot of like self-help, getting into like the monk who sold his Ferrari and the Four Agreements and all of those types of
Yes.
books.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think it was like the next summer where you were telling me about the astrology chart. And then I started really getting into astrology and listening to anybody that I could find podcast about that. And, I think I was really into Lacey Phillips at the time, her expanded podcast. And
Mm-hmm.
she was always talking about a lot of spirituality stuff. And that's actually where I heard about human design for the first time.
Yeah.
Um, and then started getting into that and manifestation and
Yep.
yeah, just so many different spirituality things. I remember Chanel and I going to Barnes and Noble and getting like a pendulum book and
Yep.
getting into that.
Yeah.
Uh, And then I got really into Reiki, and so did you, and we both got our Reiki masters together.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just been a continual journey since then. Yeah, and it's definitely evolved, throughout the years. Yeah, that's when it started for me.
Yeah. So cool and interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think astrology has just been like a constant for me in terms of my spiritual practice because astrology for me is, I don't know, just like a marker that like everything in life is a season
Mm.
and your season for whatever it is that you want is coming. And we each have specific timing in our life that is for us and that is for our life. And I think it has helped me accept myself more
Yeah.
and accept my timing and my seasons more because, and helped me not compare myself to other people because other people have gifts and timing that are different from yours. And, if you see somebody that has what you want, whether that be like career or money or family or, I don't know what it could be. It could be anything. Um, there's a season for that in your own life.
Mhm.
And it always comes back around to you. Like there is
Yeah.
always a time for you to expand and grow and build and put energy towards every different part of your life, but it's
Mhm.
helpful to know what are your strengths and what's your timing and what's your season because and helps with that comparison because like somebody else has their thing that they're good at. I think I always felt a little bit different. That's probably that 4 Enneagram coming in. I was always drawn to like very like intuitive spiritual things even when it wasn't cool,
Mhm.
like back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And yeah, learning about my astrology chart kind of gave me that permission to like be that person and like that's okay to like go against what maybe other people are doing or what other people are interested in.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I love just that, your season is coming. It's different for everybody. Everybody's on a different timeline. I feel like I am always having to remind myself of that, especially with social media and today's world, and you see something and it's like, no, I'm like reminding myself, like, no, you're good. Like your time will come if that is something that you genuinely want.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next question. What was your biggest plot twist year of your life, do you think?
I think definitely when I had my son and I got laid off from work.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
because that just wasn't in the plans for me. Like was not expecting
Yeah,
that to happen.
like
It shifted everything. Like I thought I was
yeah.
going to go back to work and I was going to have to put my son in daycare and I would just be in recruiting and doing that. And I'm very grateful and fortunate that that happened, even though it was very scary because when you're 3 months postpartum, especially with that, it's like, whoa, your hormones, you're still so tender and still
Yeah.
so vulnerable.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I was a little scared about what was going to happen. And yeah, I mean, becoming a mother in general changes your whole entire life,
Yeah, absolutely.
changes your priorities, your values. But I should have seen it coming probably. And when it happened, I knew it was going to happen because I'm like, the transits in my chart don't look great, you know? And recruiting in general is very dependent on the economy and how well the economy is doing and how much people are hiring. And people
Yeah.
are not hiring right now. And so recruiting is kind of a volatile industry in that way. So I knew it was going to happen um, some level. And yeah, it just kind of rearranged everything and allowed me a lot more space and time to focus on my astrology business, which is where my heart is.
Yeah.
And spend time with my kids. And I had to get very clear about what I wanted in terms of my career.
I was going to ask you, what was it, an eclipse in your 10th house, or what happened
Yeah.
specifically?
Yeah, it was the South Node was in Libra. in my 10th house. So it was a
Mm,
South Node eclipse in my 10th house.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's insane
Hmm.
because my biggest plot twist year was when my aunt and uncle used to live in France, and I went to live with them for a couple months after college. Right after college, started waitressing a lot and saving up all this money so I could go to France and live with them. And I was going to spend 3 months there because that's the most time you can spend on just a visa or just going in general, right?
Hmm.
Until you need a visa. And while I was there, I got a babysitting au pair job. And I was like, oh, well, I can just stay here and this can be my job for a while and I can live in France. They're a really wealthy family and they had an apartment in London and they had a chateau in France and two little girls. And I was like, this is great. This is amazing. This is going to be my life. They wanted me to start the job by going to London for, I think it was like 2 weeks to get to know them. And I don't know. I don't know what they were doing there, but they wanted me to start there. And then we were going to spend the rest of the summer at their chateau in France. And so this was like end of May that I tried to go to London. And the Summer Olympics were happening later that summer. This was summer of 2012. And I ended up getting detained in London because the lady didn't believe me. And I, I remember walking from the flight to customs and just having this weird feeling in my stomach, like just kind of something weird. I just felt like I was maybe nervous to start this new job. Like I didn't know where I was going to be living, had never met these people. I had just talked to the woman on the phone. But I guess it was her detaining me in London. So I ended up getting detained. And whatever the two airports are in London, they transferred me from one to the other in a big car with other women that were getting detained. And we roll up to the other place and it was basically a jail. Like it was barbed wire everywhere. And they took
Wait,
my
I
blood
thought it was
pressure.
because you didn't have like the proper work papers or something.
Well, I was just going for 2 weeks, so I didn't need work papers. I just told them I was going to visit family friends. But the woman
Oh.
didn't believe me. And she just suspected something was fishy. I don't know. Maybe I was just really nervous and like not lying correctly. um,
Oh, that's so
and
weird.
so they went through all of my stuff. And I even had a letter, like an email from her that was like, can't wait to see you, like if something happened. But then I also had like my journal in my bag, and they went through and like read my entire journal and found like I had written like excited to go like be an au pair with this family. So they found me out.
That's so
uh,
invasive.
yeah, it was felt very violating. But yeah, ended up kind of staying overnight in a detainment center. And I had one phone call to call my aunt and tell her what was going on. And it was like a minute long. And I said, I'm detained. And she didn't believe me. Didn't believe me at first, and I was like, "No, like this is really happening." Like I called her once at the airport, and then I called her again once I was at the detainment facility, and I was talking. I'm like, "I know I'm gonna get cut off," and I was like trying not to cry, and then eventually like the phone just got cut off, and I had to hang up and go to the bathroom without like a lock on the door. Like
Oh my God.
they took my blood pressure, and it was really high. And I remember the guy saying, "You're not going to be able to fly if this doesn't come down." And I was like, "Well, how do I get it to come down?" Because I was just so like in distress from this whole thing.
Yeah,
I think we had
obviously, yeah.
once they had driven us to the detainment center. I think I had maybe 3 hours to like rest, try to sleep. I was sleeping on like a wooden box with like a yoga mat on the top. um, but yeah, I
Just
didn't mean for
this
this.
happening to you. It's like so funny. Because this is your worst nightmare. Like
Yeah,
literally.
I mean, I didn't mean for this part of the story to get so long, but that really changed so much my life because then, like a week later, my friend said that the job she worked for in New York needed a new assistant, a marketing
So you
assistant.
weren't able to go and be this au pair for this family.
No, so I didn't go do this. I was immediately, the fact that I made it back to France without getting, like, I thought I was going to get stuck in the airports and not be able to go back into France.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even care. Like, they just stamped my passport, didn't have a question. My aunt picked me up and she was like, you were shaking for like 2 days after I picked you up. And I immediately was like, I'm booking my flight home. I'm getting back into the US. I was almost up on my 3 months. I was just like, I can't go over my 3 months. Like, I going home after this. But I ended up having a Skype, like when Skype was a big thing. I had a
Yeah.
Skype interview with this guy and got this job. And I had a job secured, and I ended up flying home, moved to New York the next week, lived in New York for a month. And the guy I worked for lived in LA in Santa Monica, and he wanted to open up an office there. And I was like, well, I've always wanted to live in California. So a month later, I was flying out and moving to California. And that was just like such a pivotal time in my life. And then, had cousins that were all out there, and then started a clothing company with my cousin. And it just, and I
Yeah.
met my husband out there. I was out there for almost 10 years. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that just sparked such a huge change. And I looked at the astrology for this, and it's so funny how you had the South Node in your 10th house.
Mm-hmm.
When I was detained, there was a new moon eclipse in Gemini at the end of May in my 9th house. The South Node was there. It literally, the ninth house is the house of foreign travel. And it
Yes.
literally did not allow me into London. And
It
I
was like, no,
had
you got to go home.
yeah, and they escorted me onto the plane. Like, they walked me all the way onto the plane. I had this manila envelope that said, "On Her Majesty the Queen's request." And I wasn't allowed to go to London for 5 years after my detainment, but I haven't tried to go back since. Yeah, so astrology, like when you said yours was a South Node eclipse, like your most pivotal year in your life, that
Yeah.
same for me. It's just so funny. So
Wow.
interesting.
So interesting, and speaks to how eclipses can be like really big, just like chapters coming to
Yeah.
an end or new chapters beginning, and like fated events that are meant to
Mhm.
happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have the life you have now. Who knows if you would have met your husband and all of that
Yeah.
if you weren't detained.
Right. Who knows how long I would have tried to spend in France,
Yeah.
working and
And I think both our stories are good examples of just like divine redirection, you know?
yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're just going to do a couple rapid fire questions because those are always fun. Chanel, is there any sign that people mistype you as?
People clock me as a Libra so quick. So no.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever gotten any other sign, but I don't know that anyone is like you're an Aquarius for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm
Can't really
easy to read.
answer that. What house do you think runs your life right now? House in astrology.
Ooh, fourth house, home and family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's the season I'm in.
Yeah. Mine has been 6th house with Saturn and Neptune there. They're both moving out. So hopefully that'll give me some relief. But it has been health and just daily grind and work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What astrology stereotype do you actually embody?
Libras being indecisive.
That was my answer. Libra rising being indecisive.
And having an emotional authority but for both of us doesn't help either.
Yeah, I know.
We
Yep.
take a long time to make decisions.
Yes. Which placement in your chart do you love the most? Love my Venus, Sun, and Moon in the 5th house. I really like having all three of them in my 5th house. It's
It's a
really
really lucky.
sweet and romantic. Yeah. Bridgerton vibes, which I'm so into right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really like lucky placement that you have because the fifth house is just the best. Um, yeah, I love that I have a Scorpio midheaven because for my career, I'm really meant to connect with people and go deep in a really profound way and help walk them through this, maybe like the depths, to have a transformative, experience. And I love that. That's what I'm so passionate about. And I think really resonates with being an astrologer and maybe a future therapist. Yeah, I love going deep. And so I love having a Scorpio midheaven.
Love that. Okay. All right. So that was some astrology stuff. And now human design. What part of your design is the hardest to accept?
As a manifester, you have what's called a repelling aura. And I know you, Sydney, you have a different word for it, but it can be hard because some people are drawn to you and some people aren't,
Mm-hmm.
And as a manifester, like it's okay if people aren't, but I think that can be sometimes difficult for me because as a Libra, I like want everyone to get
I like
along. I
you.
want everyone to like me. I want to like everyone. And, but I know as a manifester that like not everyone is for me, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to use the word mysterious. People have a hard time reading manifestors. They just like a generator and a manifesting generator are open, and it like feels sometimes like a warm hug, and they're just like people, their energy is just easy for you to flow with. And projectors are more penetrating, so that can feel good sometimes to people because you can actually feel them coming in. But the manifestors just kind of like a mystery. Like sometimes you just can't even really feel or get a vibe from them.
Yeah.
So that's where like repelling for me feels harsh because I know a lot of manifestors and I just don't feel like you guys are repelling.
Yeah.
But yeah, repelling, mysterious. Yeah, I mean, I can see how that could be a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Um, Mine is emotional authority. I find that I still have trouble with that sometimes. I think it's going to be a lifelong lesson of figuring out emotional authority and when I'm feeling like it's actual yes or no or maybe. Like I wish I had splenic or sacral or even self-projected, like one of the other authorities, because I find emotional can be really, really hard.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. It's very difficult.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about your design, or one of your favorite things?
I really, I really resonate with being a 5-1 and
Mm.
like, knowing that I'm a 5-1 is helpful because I have this energy I think that people are drawn to where like, oh, like she can help me. And
Yeah.
I think that's helpful for what I do and what I want to do. Yeah, I love that. And I think I have just, as I've gotten older, I've learned how to use that when I want to use that and not jump into problems to fix that are not my own.
Yeah, I love
And,
that.
yeah, just knowing that has helped me be more discerning with my energy and my time.
Yeah, and you're really using the high expression there because some people can get stuck on feeling like they have to solve every single problem or be something that everyone is projecting onto you that they want you to be. That can be like the tough, low expression of it, but you're really leaning into that high expression of the 5-1.
Yeah, I'm trying,
Yeah.
but it's a lifelong
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah, for sure. I really love being a projector, and my energy just naturally comes into the room and like scans the whole area and is like, well, those things could be better and like that could be improved. Like I just can't help it. That's just like what I do all of the time, and sometimes it can be exhausting, but I really like having that ability too.
Yeah, I think everyone needs a projector friend
Yeah,
to be
definitely.
able to like give insight
Yes.
every once in a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys definitely have a big gift.
Yeah. And are there any gates or channels that you feel like kind of embody your personality really well or that you really resonate with?
Um, Definitely my sun gate,
Yeah.
which we've talked about on here before,
Yeah.
which is the gate of improvement. Um, I highly resonate with that. And also um, the the channel from my emotional center to my throat, where
Mhm.
I can kind of speak through and process my emotions through speaking and sharing. That one I really resonate with as well.
Yeah. You have channel 3536.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Same for me. My sun gate 13. It's the gate of the listener. I feel like I'm really good at doing that.
You are. Yeah.
And I also really resonate with channel 2343, the Genius Freak channel, which is actually my other sun and my subconscious sun and earth gate.
Mm.
And that one's just about, having these intuitive insights that you're meant to share, but only if you're recognized and if there's like a place for it to land. It's a very projectory channel.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it can either come off as like, oh wow, like what was that insight you just had? Like that was genius. Or it can come off as like you're really weird and you know, that you're kind of a weirdo. Like I don't even know what you're saying. Like it can come off either of those. And
Yeah.
I definitely have experienced both in my life, but I really resonate with that energy.
Yeah.
Okay, now just a couple this or that. Do you feel like your Saturn return was traumatic or transformative?
Transformative.
Me too.
That was when I really got into like astrology as like a business and really learned the depths of it and decided that that was something that I was going to commit to and
Hmm.
do. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, I got married when Saturn was pretty much almost to the degree of my Saturn return. Moved across country, started getting into astrology and human design, started a new job, bought my first house, just.
Yeah. Yours was in the
And
fourth house of
yeah.
home and family. So figuring out where you're going to live and where you're going to land
Yep.
and which you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. New moon or full moon?
Full moon. Full moon energy is I just always have more energy, more ambition to go out and do things, to get things done. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously new moons have their place, but full moon is um just peak energy. So I like that.
Hmm. I like new moons better. Probably because I was born under a new moon. And the full moon just sometimes is just the chaos. The chaos. It's just, and I don't sleep well. But I do appreciate a full moon. I just like the new moon better. Manifesting or surrendering?
There's a place for both.
Yeah.
Um, but I think lately I've been in a more of a surrender state to just letting flow and let happen what's going to happen instead of trying to force my will into things.
Hmm.
I've been trying to like let go and surrender more to God or the universe and giving them more of the giving them more of the power at the
Hmm.
moment. So yeah, I think that's more of the stage that I'm in right now in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I would agree. I would pick surrendering right now too. There was a time where I was all for manifesting, but yeah, I feel like I am just in this surrendering period of what's going to happen is going to happen and not trying to control so much. And I also don't really have time to sit down and try to manifest a bunch of things or even write a list of things I want to manifest these days.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Parenthood really is a practice in surrender, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think
if you
so
have young
too.
kids, it's probably, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that resonates with you more.
Do you have a go-to comfort ritual right now?
Mm, It's just maybe a hot cup of tea. It always kind of like grounds me, brings me back to my body. Yeah, I would say that's simple and easy.
Yeah. Mine is I just take a hot shower every night, and it just helps me to get any energy off of my body from the day that I picked up, whether it's people or places or something I saw on Instagram. It just kind of helps wash everything away. I do that every night before I go into bed, and it's just really relaxing. Any current obsessions right now?
Can't think of anything.
I've been really into Bridgerton. Season 4 just came out. I just binged that. And I rewatched all the other seasons. So I've just been on a Bridgerton kick. And my daughter has gotten really into calico critters. Did you play with those when you were little?
No.
Well, they're these cute little animals, like kind of felt, like really soft, not felt, but like a kind of velvety kind of a feel.
Yeah.
They make all different families and houses and accessories. And she just started getting into them. And I've been just looking at all the different things you can buy. And they're just so cute. And I'm
Aw,
obsessed
I
with
love
them
that.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Things that are on my mind lately are like cooking and new recipes that
Mm,
are kind of like quick and easy and delicious that I can make for
cool.
dinner for my family. I've been using the crock pot a lot, and yeah, I've been into I love to cook, but I don't have as much time now to do kind of like the elaborate dishes
Yeah.
that I want to, but or that I used to, I guess. I need something like more quick and easy and delicious. So right now on TikTok, I search a lot for like quick, easy, delicious family meals, which is kind of boring.
I love that. Just
Hmm.
send me some of those because, yeah, I feel like it's recently been like, what are we going to have for dinner?
I know.
My husband make me like a big batch of soup, and I'll just eat it every day for lunch for like a week until we run out.
Yeah. Yeah. We do kind of like just like the basics every week of like potatoes and a veggie and chicken or.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm always looking for new ways to mix it up, but that are like relatively simple. So, if you have any ideas or recipes or people to follow, let me know.
Yeah. And maybe last question. What do you want this podcast to become?
A guide for people to turn to understand the astrological weather and understand their human design charts so they can live a more authentic life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Love that. Yeah. Same. I want it to be a grounded place for people to come so you can learn more about yourself, find value in it. Yeah. I mean, I hope that people look up their charts after they listen to us and are interested in that and want to see how their energy interacts with other people in their lives, their immediate family and friends, and understanding their children more. I hope that this can be a guide for all of that for people.
I love that.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, and if you have any Q&A questions for us, if you're curious about anything, or if you have any topics related to astrology or human design that you would like to know more about or you'd like to hear us talk about, please drop them in the comments or, shoot us a message on Instagram, because we would love to hear from you about what you'd like to hear. And of course, if you enjoy this podcast, if you could rate and review it, it helps get the word out to more listeners who might also want to hear and listen to this podcast. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank
Subscribe.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the things.
Subscribe, share it with a friend. That helps so much. Yeah. If you want to book a reading, you know where to find us. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.